Today we're going to go into detail about Southwest Airlines early bird check-in options. Welcome everyone, I'm Mark. If you are new to the channel or not yet subscribed, please subscribe right now by clicking my face down there in the corner. And if you are subscribed, click that bell up above so you'll be notified when I post new videos. Now, the early bird boarding option is one of the most common questions I get both in comments and in email about Southwest Airlines. So I thought it would be worth making a video, even though I've alluded to it in other videos, make a video dedicated to just that topic. So I'm going to put up some screenshots. Most of these are from the Southwest Airlines website, and then I'm going to explain my personal experience and how the whole thing works. In essence, it is quite simple. As you can see here, it says starting at $15. So let's start with that, the cost. Right now, the cost goes anywhere from $15 to $25, depending on a number of things, what destination city, what originating city, what time of year. All of those things are going to make a little bit of a difference. But it does go from $15 all the way up to $25. Now that is one way. So if you have a return flight, which most of us do, but not always, if you have a return flight, you will have to pay that fee again in order to get early bird on the way back. It says here the benefits are automatic check-in, better boarding position, and earlier access to overhead bin space. So let's talk about each of those individually. Automatic check-in. Now, Southwest Airlines says that the reason for early bird boarding is rather than wait the 24 hours, they will check you in at 36 hours. So that could be confusing for some of you, so let me clarify. You are eligible to check in 24 hours before your flight. I always recommend people check in on the button at 24 hours. I'm always right there by my phone, and the minute it turns over to 24 hours, I'm trying to log in and check in I'm logged in already, but I check in. That way I can get the earliest boarding number. So what Southwest says they do is they check you in at 36 hours. So by the time everybody else is checking in at 24 hours, you're already checked in. But it seems to me if they check you in at 36 hours, shouldn't you be getting your boarding pass? Shouldn't the boarding pass be made available to you at 36 hours? And it isn't. You still have to wait until 24 hours before you can check in and see what boarding number you got. So that's always been, one of those sticking points with me. I don't know that it means anything at all, but they say they check you in at 36 hours, but you still have to wait until at 24 hours to actually log in and get your boarding pass. Now, why is that so important? Because the order in which you check in it determines the order in which you get on board the airplane. When you get to the airport, you're going to see posts, and the posts are all lined up, and it'll say 1 through 5, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, and so on. And it'll go up to 30 on one side, and the other side of the post, it starts with 31 and goes up to 60. So the A group is A1 through 60, the B group is B1 through 60, and the C group is C1 through 60. So if you're C54, you're getting on that plane really, really late. Now, to give you an idea of what that all means, Southwest Airlines flies 737s. They have roughly a capacity of 143 people. So if you're figuring out, well, wait a minute, 60 times 3 is 180, right? Okay, so it's a little strange, but there's other caveats in there we have to talk about. So anyway, the sooner you log in, the lower your number is. The lower your number is, the earlier you get on the plane. They don't have reserved seating on Southwest. So it's sort of like getting on a bus. The sooner you get in, you can select the seat you want. All right, I know that was a little convoluted, but that is the whole purpose of early bird boarding. The earlier you get on board, the better chance you have of getting the seat you want. Also, the better chance you have, the second thing here says earlier access to overhead bins. So we have all of our overhead bins, they fill up in a hurry. People are allowed to bring two things on board with them. One rollerboard or a carry-on under 22 inches, and the other is a personal item. I've seen people really push that personal item. Personal item is supposed to be something like a purse, a computer bag, a camera case, something like that. I've seen people that will carry on, they have their 22-inch and then they have a whole full backpack. Your second item is supposed to fit underneath the seat in front of you, but people really push that. I've seen people that will put both of them in the overhead, and then when the later people get on board, there's no room for them, and they have to gate check that bag. Another reason why you want to use early bird priority access, okay? Early board is pretty good. So when it says better boarding position, earlier access to overhead bins, they kind of go hand in hand. What is my real experience with this? Well, first of all, you will never get A1 through 15. They save A1 through 15 for people who want to purchase that option to get on. It's different than early bird. You can get to the airport and you can purchase an earlier position. We're not going to get into it right now because this topic's about early bird. Also, families with young children can get on between A and B. So even though it looks to you like B1 should be all the A group went through, which theoretically 60 people, you'll be the 61st person. Doesn't always work that way. Could be fewer, could be more. So, bottom line, if you pay your $15 to $25, theoretically you do not have to jump on board at 24 hours to jump online at 24 hours to get your boarding pass. It should be waiting for you whether you get it 24 hours before, 12 hours before, 1 hour before. I've never been gutsy enough to try it, to buy the early bird and then wait until an hour before in order to check in. I just don't feel comfortable with it. I'm one of those, even if I have early bird, I'm checking in at 24 hours on the button because I don't know, I don't trust the system. But if you are trusting of the system, that's what it's supposed to be able to do. You are supposed to be able to completely forget about it. You could even wait till you get to the airport, go up to the kiosk, check in, and get your boarding pass printed out, and it should be an early boarding pass. Now, I am going to tell you this. It says right in the automatic check-in that it doesn't guarantee an A boarding position, but it improves your seat selection options to help you get your favorite seat. So there are no guarantees, because let's face it, what if 60 people do buy early bird? I don't know how often that happens, but they can't guarantee every single one of those will be an A group because there's only 60 options in A group. Matter of fact, really only 45 if you don't count those first 15. Here's another question I'm asked a lot. Does everyone in my group have to purchase early bird? This is a weird one because although I can't say this with assurance, every single time I've done this, it has worked. Where if you buy your tickets all at one time with only one confirmation number, and then one person, purchaser of the tickets, buys the early bird, I have never had it fail where all of the other people are grouped together. In other words, if I'm with a travel companion and we buy our tickets together, you know, you buy it with your spouse, your child, whatever. You buy your tickets together and I purchase early bird and I pay my $15 or $20 and I get, let's say, A23. I almost always have had it happen where my companion will get A24, even though they did not purchase early bird. Is that a guarantee? No, it's not a guarantee. But I've always had it work out that way. I said almost earlier because I can't recall a time when it didn't. Every time I've chosen to do that, we have had our boarding numbers together. So if you're willing to take a chance, you can have only one person buy as long as you're on the same confirmation number and see what happens. Now, what if you get stung? What if only one person gets that early boarding? Can you save seats? Technically, no. But I always see people do it. But let's face it, let's say that my companion, that we do both have early boarding and we sit down, and then the person I'm traveling with gets up to use a restroom or something. Someone tries to sit down. No, someone's already sitting here. They don't know if that person is in the back putting their luggage up, if that person is using the restroom. So it's between you and your conscience. I see a lot of people do it. I don't really have a problem. If I'm going to sit by someone and they say, oh, my husband's already here and my wife's always here, I know what's happening. They're holding the seat for someone, and I don't have a real problem with it. Usually they're holding the seat for someone who is sitting in the middle seat anyway, because one person has a window or the aisle and they want their friend next to them, and middle seats aren't that desirable. So as for everybody in your group getting the early board option, it's your call. You'll probably, if you're on the same confirmation, you'll probably get it. It's not a guarantee. If you don't, you can probably politely request when someone tries to sit down, hey, I'd like to have this from my family member, and they'll probably honor that request for you, because most people are pretty understanding. I have been on planes, and this has happened more than once, where family members have not been able to get a seat together. And on one time I can recall, people were not moving, and the pilot actually has said, I can't take off unless we get the family together. My opinion, I think the family was being a little irresponsible, because they had the option to get on at family boarding, and they had the option to buy early bird. If you don't do those things, that's kind of the chance you take. You might get separated. And if there's 2, 3, 4 of you, you could be scattered throughout the whole plane. So in that case, I think you're really putting an entire airplane full of people at a real inconvenience just because you kind of feel, I want to be together with my family. I totally understand that, but that's why they have these types of options, so you can be together with your family. Whether or not you think that that's reasonable or not for someone that's getting in at the end of the C group now to expect other people to move for them so they can sit with their family, you make that decision for yourself. But we do have options like early bird, so you can avoid those things, because they are uncomfortable for you. They're uncomfortable for people in the plane who have already settled in, and they might be with their family member, and they might want to be together. So I don't know how we solve problems like that, but this is one of them, by using early bird boarding. Do you have to purchase your early bird boarding at the time you purchase your ticket? No. You may purchase your early bird right up until, and even after, the 24 hours. But if you do it after the 24 hours, there's really no point to it, because all of those seats will already be taken. But I would say the sooner the better. If you think you want to do it, order it when you buy your tickets. But if you don't, you can always go back online, or you can call Southwest and say, I want to add early bird option. Up until 20 or 36 hours before, you can add the early bird option. So don't feel like you missed out if you didn't do it when you purchased your tickets. You can add that later. I hope that answered all your questions regarding early bird boarding with Southwest Airlines. If you have additional questions, please leave them down below. I read all the comments and I try to respond as quickly as possible. Please like and share the videos. Leave your comments down below. If you're not already subscribed, click my face down there in the corner, and don't forget to click that bell up above so you know when I post new videos. Thanks for joining me, everyone. I'm Mark.